love me too? Excuse me? Like... Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Cartoon Hotspot, and today, as you can see from the title of the video, I'm going to be reacting to your unpopular opinions on Miraculous Ladybug. Also, it's been a while since I did a video which required me to show my face, so let's appreciate the natural hair. Now, if you didn't know, a few months ago I made an unpopular opinions on Winx Club where I reacted to your unpopular opinions, and that was super fun to make. Like, I just love seeing what other people think, you know, what they deem as unpopular, basically the obscure thoughts, rather than always talking about what I think on this channel. So yeah, I'm gonna react to your unpopular opinions on Miraculous Ladybug. So before we get into this video, if you're new to my channel, welcome. Hopefully you'll be sticking around for reaction videos, analysis videos, video essays, you know, the symbolism videos, literally anything to do with Miraculous Ladybug. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit that thumbs up, and turn on that bell button for post notifications. Without further ado, let's begin. So I posted on my community tab asking you guys to send in your popular opinions, and they were like so many. They were literally like over 100, and some of them were really similar, so please don't get upset if I don't read yours out. There was just so many to get through. So the first unpopular opinion is by amayaton, and they said, as much as I love Marinette / Ladybug scenes and episodes, I think she's overused. Like, the title is Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir, but we really don't get any episodes that are dedicated to Adrian. I think Lies was the first, and I feel as if Cat Noir is overlooked as a character when it comes to him helping save Paris and is seen as a sidekick, which is kind of sad because he's personally my favourite. I agree, I really do agree, and I don't even think this is an unpopular opinion. I think most of the fandom would agree. Like, I'm all for Marinette being the main character. I don't think Adrian should be the main character at all. It's just that, like you said, the show is called Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir. They should have equal screen time. The show is about their struggles, their lives as superheroes and normal teenagers. I think the only episodes that focus on Adrian are Felix, sort of, Lies being like the only Adrian-centered episode where we barely see Marinette. Goryzilla, I would count that as Adrian, but kind of Marinette, you know, because Adrian finally opens up about his mother. And that's pretty much it. And season 4 isn't making that any better because we're barely seeing any Adrian or Cat Noir content. But I do feel like season 5, since season 5 is wrapping up the main story and we will see Hawkmoth get defeated, we'll probably see more of Adrian and his struggles with dealing with the fact that his father has been Paris's supervillain. So yeah, fingers crossed. Valerieperez said, Zoe was not a needed character. They could have just kept Chloe's redemption arc going instead of having to put a secret sister thing from nowhere without any explanation. It felt rushed. I kind of agree and I kind of don't agree, because I don't know if they're still going to go ahead with Chloe's redemption arc, because I've lost hope for that completely. Season 3 ruined that hope, and especially like seeing Soul Crusher and Queen Banana, Chloe's behavior was appalling, so I have no hope for a Chloe redemption arc. I don't know if Zoe is going to be seen again like in a major episode for season 4. I literally don't know, so I kind of agree and I kind of disagree. jfluth said, Gabriel isn't the worst person. He definitely is toxic and needs to be stopped, but I feel like there is something else going on. Mentally, I think he's in a very bad place. He is stopping his grief by chasing after something not promised. That mental struggle can really affect you, especially if he is isolated and never has to deal with actual consequences. Just risks. I hope they touch more on this. So far, he only realizes his mistakes once someone he cares about for is in harm's way. Adrian, Natalie. I hope we learn more about his mental health, because that can really take over how you act and how you can become someone you're not. As someone who used to be toxic, I think that's what he's dealing with. We don't know the past environment he was in or how Emily was. That can contribute to his behavior by a huge standard. As much as I don't like Gabriel Agreste, I agree with this opinion. I think he is in a very bad place, and his way of grieving over Emily was just not very healthy, to the point where he is going after something that he doesn't even know his consequences. So he's going after the Miraculouses, but he doesn't know what the consequences of merging the Ladybug and Cat Noir Miraculous. And as the series goes on, his motives are getting more dangerous. Like we saw in Cat Blanc, he was literally willing to bat his son against the Eiffel Tower. And you're right, the only time where he realizes his actions are very harmful is when Natalie is like put in harm's way, or when Adrian is put in harm's way, but he still doesn't stop, if that makes sense. Like you would think he'd stop, and he was going to stop in season 2, Style Queen, or was it Queen Moss? I can't remember. He was going to put an end to his Hawkmoth days, but you know, like his will to revive Emily is getting more and more stronger, and with that his actions are getting more risky and dangerous. But at the same time, like some villains are just evil. Like not every villain has a tragic backstory, which is why I find it really hard to sympathize with Gabriel Aggressor. Faith Fox Randomness said, I don't hate Kaigami, I never have. I know some people who really hate her because she's in the way of the ship, but her friendship with Marinette is really cute in my opinion. So hopefully after Midget... I can't say this. What is wrong with me? So hopefully after Mr. Pigeon 72, people should stop giving her so much hate. I agree. I mean, when I first like watched season 2 and Kaigami was introduced, I didn't really find her likable, but then as the series grew, I understood why she acts the way she is, because Adrian could have turned out like Kaigami because they both have similar backgrounds, you know, similar upbringings, both being from rich families who demand so much of them at a young age. The impact of having such overbearing parents are different for everyone. Like Adrian could have been cold-hearted, could have been mean, could have, you know, been closed up, and Kaigami could have been like open and friendly and, you know, really bright and happy, but they just turned out the way they did because it's just how they did. And yeah, I really do agree. Like I really love her friendship with Marinette because they started off like really misunderstood, and Marinette realized that maybe I shouldn't have judged Kaigami, you know, like there is more to her than what it seems. So yeah, I really love Marigami's friendship. I think they have such cute chemistry and I really want to see more of them. I love their dynamic. Rayma Vedharman, sorry if I pronounce your name wrong, said, I don't really know if this is unpopular opinion, but I actually really love Marinette as a character. A lot of people are indifferent to her or find her stalkerish ways to ruin her character. Yes, she is a stalker and it's very creepy and uncalled for, but otherwise I love her character and she's really only annoying when she's doing her stalkerish things and rejecting Cat Noir. Like, he's literally perfect. Anyway, yeah, I really like her. Oh, and another one, I actually love Adrian. Cat Noir is better than Adrian, obviously, but a lot of people find Adrian boring. Yeah, I really like his gentle personality and I'm so in love with both of his personas. Agree and disagree, because I agree with the part with Marinette. Like, Marinette is my favorite character, even though like the writers gave her some really weird flaws. It's just like, why? Do the writers not know how to write a 14-year-old girl who has a crush on someone? Like, I'm pretty sure no 14-year-old girl stalks their crush, or at least I hope not, because that is not healthy. But yeah, I really hate how people reduce her character to just her being a stalker when she's literally more than that. But I disagree about Cat Noir being better than Adrian. They're the same person, okay? It's just that Cat Noir personality is like an overcompensation for how he doesn't get to act when he's Adrian, and he doesn't really know who his true self is. Like, a lot of people think Cat Noir is Adrian's true self, and I have said this before, but I was wrong and I'm so ashamed for saying it, but Cat Noir isn't Adrian's true self. That doesn't make Adrian any less valid, because all sides to him, all of his personality is him. It's just that when Adrian gets to not be Adrian Aggressor for a day, he gets to go out and be outgoing, and it's kind of like an overcompensation for how he doesn't get to act in his everyday life. I would say Adrian's true self is like in between, you know. We see his reserved side as Cat Noir, but then we also see his outgoing and, you know, flirty and cocky side as Adrian. Like, it's a mix. Okay, literally that's the name. Okay said, Luca is so good. He's so underrated. He'd do anything to help someone. He would sacrifice anything for anyone. He didn't even get mad when Marinette broke up with him. He's the sweetest and my favorite character in Miraculous. I find Luca a bit boring, if I'm being real. Like, it's just like, Luca is a great person, like personality wise. He's a great person. He's super understanding, and like, Luca's just so sweet. But as a character, he's pretty boring and bland. I think he really was done dirty. Like, he should have had a whole episode where he found out Jaggerstone is his father. I feel like putting that in episode 1, where episode 1 focused on Luca and Marinette's relationship, putting that big twist was just not needed. It should have been it's a whole episode. Then we would have gotten, you know, Luca character development, just see a different side to Luca, but everything just felt rushed in the episode Truth. Shay West said, I actually really like Adrian as a character. I feel like most people don't appreciate him very much, but I really like the build-up of his character and how he has overcome many things in his life. Instead of being like most people and sulking, he always has a positive perspective on situations. I just overall really like how he has developed throughout the series. Completely agree, 110% agree, because people think that Adrian's boring, and of course you're entitled to your own opinion, but I think that's part of his complex nature. As in, like I said earlier on in this video, Adrian has suffered from like emotional abuse and just solitude and just not being able to do what he wants, live the life of a normal teenager, and the way he deals with it is just so endearing and compelling. It's much more complex for him to be this, you know, sunshine boy, you know, rather than him being the cold-hearted person like in the original like PV version of the show. I think the current Adrian Agrest we have right now is much more interesting than the one we could have gotten in the PV version of the show. Sleepy Star said, I think Natalie is a pretty interesting character and I'd love to see her be more than just Gabriel / Hawkmoth's sidekick. I want to see her struggle with her morals and her devotion to Gabriel. Also, maybe seeing her betray Gabriel or something would be super cool and kind of unexpected. I personally dislike that she told on Adrian in Cat Blanc. If she doesn't get some sort of redemption arc, then seeing her be the next Hawkmoth would be so much more interesting than Lila or Chloe. I agree. I think Natalie is a very interesting and complex character. She's very hard to wrap your head around. She's very difficult to understand because you don't really understand why she does what she does. And what I mean by that is, yeah, we know she's in love with Gabriel, but she's literally willing to risk her life and put her life on the line for Gabriel, knowing that Gabriel is trying to revive his wife and he's in love with somebody else. It's very dangerous. Like, it's not healthy at all, but I really want to know why she's like that. And yes, I agree. I did not like how she was portrayed in Cat Blanc, how she basically snitched Adrian to Gabriel. Like, apart from the gorilla, Natalie is the only one that actually cares about Adrian's well-being. And the fact that she snitched him was just like, I really liked you, now I'm just gonna have to unstand you, you know? Like, why? Why did you have to tell him? Andrea Marin said, Sabrina deserves better. No one is talking about how bad she's being treated and she doesn't even realize it. It's horrible. I felt bad for Sabrina at first, but then in Soul Crusher and Cream Banana, I don't feel bad for Sabrina. Like, why are you still friends with Chloe? You were the thing is, Sabrina was given a chance to make other friends, to, you know, befriend somebody else other than Chloe, but she didn't take that chance. And it was just like, okay, that's your problem now. If you want to keep being Chloe's servant, then go ahead. Yeah, I do feel kind of bad, I will give it that, but it's come to a point where, you know, everyone doesn't like Chloe, then that means Chloe is the problem. Like, you might have seen the good in Chloe, but as far as I'm concerned, Chloe doesn't treat you very nicely. And that's not a good thing. I mean, come on, in Soul Crusher, she literally made Sabrina work in the closet, do her homework in the closet, in the dark. Girl, you should know your worth. You deserve better. So this opinion is by Marishat Power, and they said, I saw this somewhere, so it's not my original idea, but I agree with it. On popular opinion, Ladron is not actually toxic. You know how some people ship Marishat because they can complain about their love life to each other? Well, why is it any different with Ladron? They can talk about how everyone expects them to be perfect and all the pressure it is. And when they bond like that, the ship will turn into Marishat kind of ship, where they can see the other side of each other, not just the perfection. Yes, I 100% agree with this on popular opinion, and I don't see a lot of people talk about it. So I'm glad you mentioned this, because a lot of people think Ladron is the worst ship of the Love Square, and I disagree with that, because I don't think any ship of the Love Square is worse than one another. They're the same person. So some ships have qualities that the other ships lack, and vice versa. It's just that I feel like some people find it boring. In fact, most people find it boring and bland because there's already an established romantic connection in the ship. I feel like it would have been so much better if the ship was just beyond, you know, stuttering and blushing and just being perfect around one another, where they actually talk about their struggles in maintaining such a public image, especially Adrian. Like, I think the ship would have been much more beneficial for Adrian than Marinette or Ladybug. It would have been a great opportunity for like Adrian character development and for Marinette to really see Adrian for him and not his image. The one that loves cartoons said Adrian should get more episodes that focus on him. It's crazy that Lies is the very first Adrian episode. Like, we've waited 5 years to get an Adrian. So I hope we will get more of Adrian episodes, not just Marinette, because she really is an overused character. Yeah, I agree, we need more Adrian centered episodes, but Marinette isn't overused because she is the main character, so that's where I disagree on. LK6 channel said, I don't want Adrianette to happen pre-reveal. That's because if I want any ship to happen pre-reveal, it's Lady Noir. But if it doesn't happen, then that's okay. But then I want the ships to happen post-reveal, not before it. I want Adrianette development and Adrian realizing his feelings for Marinette, but just not date, because that means that he's moved on from Ladybug completely, and I would hate that. I kind of agree and I kind of disagree. It's a bit awkward because I would like Adrianette pre-reveal, but then at the same time, I think Lady Noir is the OTP, like the one true pairing. And I think it's unlikely for Cat Noir to move on from Ladybug completely. I think he'd still be conflicted about his feelings. Well, I want him to be conflicted about his feelings. And then when the reveal does happen, he'll be like, oh, that's why I was conflicted, because Marinette and Ladybug are the same person. That's why I've fallen in love with both of them. Cool Cats and Cookies said, I know this one is very unpopular. Adrian isn't blind. Louder for the people in the back. Adrian isn't blind. Like, if anything, Marinette is more blind than Adrian, because Adrian has actually figured out Ladybug's identity a couple of times, or he's had his suspicions. Like in Kwame Buster, he was like, Plag, what if Marinette was Ladybug? Like, he wants Marinette to be Ladybug so badly. And he even said to Marinette, you're out every day, Ladybug. Like, he is aware Marinette is very similar to Ladybug, and Ladybug's very similar to Marinette. Like, he's aware of it. Whereas Marinette doesn't really like put the pieces together. It's almost like she doesn't really want Cat Noir to be Adrian. Simply Miraculous said, I don't know if this is unpopular or not, but Natalie, Mayura, is the most dangerous villain in the entire show. She's willing to do anything Gabriel wants, even bring harm to herself because she loves him. There's nothing that's going to stop her from helping him. Also, she's super smart and can figure out things that no other character has. Like in Optigami, she created a sentient monster just to spy on the miraculous holders. Like, that's genius. She's by far the most evil villain in the entire of the show. Do you know, I feel like she's not evil, but I feel like the most compelling villains are the ones that believe they're doing something right. Natalie believes she's doing something right by helping Gabriel, someone she's in love with. She doesn't even realize that she's doing something wrong because she's so blinded by her love. It's kind of similar to Gabriel as well, except Gabriel knows he's putting his son in harm's way. I agree, like, Natalie Mayura is a very, very dangerous villain, probably more dangerous than Gabriel, because like, she is the brains behind every mastermind plan. Heroes Day, for example, that plan was pure genius and it literally came out of nowhere. They've been planning it for months. Optigami, that was just mind-blowing. Like, that is super smart. Anna, I have nothing more, said Kaigami didn't deserve the way Adrian treated her in the episode they broke up. She was talking to him about how much he made her life better and how much she loved him, and he straight up ignored her and disregarded her feelings. That doesn't make me hate Adrian as a character. I just think the show doesn't care enough about his character to make you feel bad for him too. I would say the episode they broke up, so the episode Lies, Adrian was presented in a very unlikable way, because I thought Marinette was done dirty in the episode Truth. Like, if I thought Marinette looked bad, Adrian looked bad when they broke up, and it was just like sad because Adrian would never really act like that, because they hadn't even broken up when Adrian was like, ah, Ladybug, like, you're literally with someone, you have a girlfriend. Like, I know he is in love with Ladybug and his feelings aren't going away anytime soon, and I don't think he's a cheater of any sort. Like, people do date other people when they're in love with other people. Like, you can be dating someone, it's basically like the talking stage, think of it that way, but you're still like moving on from someone, or you're still kind of like in love with somebody else. Like, that is what I think dating is, until you're very much established. Yes, this is my girlfriend, this is my boyfriend, it's just pretty much exclusive, like we're exclusive to one another. It should have been established whether or not they're like together or whether or not they're just in the talking stage. But I will not lie, because I haven't watched Miraculous in English, but when I did watch that one scene where Kaigami was like, do you love me too, and Adrian was like, excuse me, like, that made me laugh so much. I'm so bad for laughing, but that was just so funny, because how could you say excuse me when someone's asking, do you love me too? That is so rude, but it should have been funny, but it was funny. do you love me too? Excuse me? Like, Adrian was kind of like portrayed out of character in that episode, whereas Marinette at least was sad to leave Luca, but whenever Adrian had to ditch Kaigami, he didn't really seem that sad. He was just like, okay, I'm seeing Ladybug again, so it doesn't really matter. Adrianette for life said, this might actually be a popular opinion, but I don't know. Marinette is a Mary Sue. She can try anything and be better at it than anyone else in the show. Don't get me wrong, I love Marinette. She and I have decent amount in common, minus the whole stalker thing. I just don't really like that she's perfect at everything. I can see why people think Marinette is a Mary Sue, because she definitely was heading down that route from seasons 1 to 3. Like, this girl is loved by everyone. She's basically smarter than every other character. Like, the other characters are dumbed down just to make her seem good. She was able to use that many Miraculouses without having any like strain on her mental or physical well-being. What else? Like, she is loved by everyone but hated by the mean girls. What else makes a Mary Sue? But she doesn't have a tragic backstory. I think it's a bit of a stretch to say she's a complete Mary Sue. I think she was definitely heading down that route, but season 4 kind of fix that mess up to show that yes, Marinette is great at everything, well, almost everything, but she's still just a teenager, a 14-year-old girl who's struggling to maintain her social life, her school life with her superhero life. And it doesn't help when most of the supervillains are pretty dumb. If Hawkmoth made more challenging villains that make us think, oh wait, Ladybug might actually lose this, like this villain's actually really smart, then I think that problem would be fixed, because then it wouldn't seem like Ladybug just is omnipotent, omniscient, you know, just all-knowing. She's just this godlike figure, do you know what I mean? But yeah, calling her a complete Mary Sue is a bit of a stretch when Adrian is probably more of a Mary Sue than Marinette, or the equivalent of a Mary Sue for a male character, I don't know. But yeah, Adrian is probably more of a Mary Sue than Marinette. Okay, so Cecile Nujuyan, please correct me in the comment section if I mispronounced your name, so sorry, had a few unpopular opinions. So the first one said, Emily is a worse parent than Gabriel. Both of them kept Adrian inside for like 13 years, but Gabriel eventually lets Adrian go be a teenager. Both are bad parents. Agree. I think Emily is evil, and like, why was she using the broken Miraculous in the first place? If Emily was so amazing, why only now has Adrian been allowed to go to school? Something's up. In Mr. Pigeon 72, Adrian didn't fall in love with Marinette, he just sees her in a different light. Agree. I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion or not, but Cat Noir deserves more powers. Ladybug has 3 and Dude has 1. They're supposed to be yin and yang. Agree. Lila is an integral part of the show in terms of Marinette and Adrian's relationship. She pushes them to rely on each other, and we are still unclear of her motive, so it creates suspense. Agree. Alia isn't a good fit for the Fox Miraculous. She's into journalism and the truth, whereas the Fox Miraculous is illusory and is oftentimes used for deceit. Alia is a great Fox Miraculous wielder though. Disagree. And I think Alia is a good fit for the Fox Miraculous, because a fox being cunning doesn't mean it's a bad thing, like being sneaky. I just feel like a lot of people associate like a fox's personality trait with something bad, when sometimes it can be good. Lise McCaffrey said, Ladybug / Marinette and Cat Noir / Adrian are supposed to be like yin and yang, opposites yet equal. Yet Ladybug is so much more powerful than Cat Noir, to the point where she has so many powers than him. Ladybug, Lucky Charm, magical ladybugs that fix everything, can de-evilize things, now has a new suit and create magical charms. Cat Noir, cataclysm. And it's literally impossible for him to defeat villains on his own, which means not only is he ever really able to save the day and shine on his own, but they're also nowhere near being equals, and that honestly bothers me so much in this show. Yes, like, there's a difference between having more responsibility and having more powers, and I think that's very misunderstood when it really shouldn't be. Like, Ladybug has more responsibilities out of like her and Cat Noir, because she has to capture the Akuma, she has to, you know, save the day, she has to repair everything, and she has more on her plate, because if she gets akumatized, it's over, like game over, end of the world. But that doesn't make her more powerful than Cat Noir. It just means she has more responsibility and more at stake if she doesn't live up to her job, to her role. Christy Gazarian said, Puppeteer and Troublemaker are the best villains Hawkmoth created, as in the one that could have gotten the closest to getting the Miraculous. If Ladybug was 1 second too late for Puppeteer, she could have taken her Miraculous. Plus, if there were more dolls, there would have been way more villains, and Ladybug can't hurt the actual people. For Troublemaker, however, she was literally able to get Ladybug's Miraculous 3 times. Also, if Troublemaker was able to get her Miraculous the second time, she would have defeated Cat Noir. I agree. The one supervillain that's like an actual child was pretty much smarter than the actual adults who have been akumatized, or the teenagers that have been akumatized. It's just so funny, like a kid. And with the supervillains, it never really feels like Ladybug is in actual danger. It never really feels like the stakes are high. We always just about know, yes, Ladybug's gonna save the day, let's just get this over with, like everything's fine. But with Troublemaker, it was like, wow, like she actually was able to get Ladybug's earring and expose Ladybug. I was like, I was not expecting that. The stakes were high in that episode, and we need more villains like that, you know, because it's so predictable that Ladybug's going to save the day because of like the format of Miraculous Ladybug is in. Okay, so that was me reacting to your unpopular opinions on Miraculous Ladybug. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed recording this, and I'm so sorry again if I didn't get through your unpopular opinion. If you guys want a part 2, you guys know what to do. Just comment down below, and then I'll post on my community tab asking you guys to send in your unpopular opinions for part 2 of this video. As for today, that's it from me, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!